Fog machine. It should be there. You just hit the button, James.
Somebody tell me where our hosts are?
Yeah.
What?
I felt scared that you could hear me chewing.
I heard like a hum.
Wyatt on set.
Alright, let's get this done.
Roll camera. Roll sound.
Season 1, Episode 9, Marker.
Action. Welcome to All the Hats, a podcast about filmmaking and industry.
Hello and welcome to All the Hats podcast about filmmaking and industry. I'm James Gary.
And I'm Eric with a K.
And today we're going to talk about...
We're going to talk about all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to start off with this, a couple screenwriting things, a couple of projects we have going right now, kind of in the bin. And then we're probably going to talk a little bit about like, when is too much when it comes to work. We'll get into that a little bit later. But the first thing I kind of want to bring up, because you and I discussed it last night, I submitted the Duplex screenplay we've been talking about over the last few episodes, or several episodes. I submitted to the Blue Cat film competition. Mm-hmm. And Blue Cat is notorious for giving you feedback. Not all competitions do that, but this one does, which is pretty awesome. So recently, and as of this recording last night, we got feedback. And you and I were looking at this feedback, and we're kind of like dumbfounded a little bit. Like, did this person actually read the script? Or
I mean, I believe they read it.
I believe so too.
Maybe like skim through more than...
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Like, when it comes to feedback, you have like thousands of scripts coming in, at a given time. And they need to get through them all. And it's just like anyone who's watching movies, for a film festival. You get one shot at it, they look through it or watch it, and then that's it. They're not going to read through it twice or, take their time on it or something like that. They got to move fast. And some of the feedback that we had received was significant. It was interesting. It was worthwhile thinking about it. And it's something I'm still thinking about today. But some of the things that they mentioned, you and I kind of just, I don't know. I don't think it'll work.
Yeah, there were a few things that they said positively. The positive things actually blew my mind just as much as the negative, because like the positive things they pointed out were like things that I like look over in the script. I'm like, okay, these are important moments, but like at the same time they're not key moments in the script, like not big moments in the script from when I read it.
Right. Which is interesting to me because writing it, those moments were very important in regards to building atmosphere or the atmosphere of the story overall. And they're key moments that kind of have a horror-esque type of thing or like a haunting type of thing. That's what it is, like haunting. Not in the literal sense of a haunting, but it's the idea of it is like, it's kind of chilling. And so I'm pleased that they even noticed it and enough to the point to be like, we really liked it. This is super strong. We think you should continue with that. But some of the things that they commented on in regards to changes, again, I'm still thinking about it. I'm contemplating whether or not to change some stuff, and I might not. But some of it's just like, if I were to make these simple changes or what appear to be simple changes, it can seriously have an entire overhaul of the entire script.
Like a domino effect.
Yeah, like if I change one of these things, especially at the beginning of the script, they're like, we have a couple of kids at the beginning of the script, and they think there should be a significant impact between these two characters, something that moves us forward into the future as we jump 10 years.
There is a significant impact, but it's not related to how it ends.
Right.
Which I think is what they were asking for.
Right.
Which... doesn't that just give away the ending?
That's my thought too, because like if we know who this person is,
well, I mean, I think we're giving away too much already.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we mention who this person is that does the significant deed,
yeah,
it would impact the future of the script, and people would see this person again and be like, "Oh, wait a second, this
Yeah.
connection is made within the first 30 minutes of the film, and that's not
It'd
good
be way too soon.
based on our script."
Yeah. The script, I feel there's a sense of mystery in the script where you're not sure of certain things.
Right.
And I think I want that to stay that way, and to try to follow what some of the pointers that they gave would give away that mystery.
Yeah, I agree. And so with that said, I'll probably leave the script in those sections as is. The one thing I really am thinking a lot about, though, is our character, Patrick. He's a supporting character. He's kind of there to help build the story arc of one of our other main characters, Victoria. And in the feedback we received, they thought that maybe we should cut out Patrick altogether. He's the husband of Victoria. I think it's safe to say that. But I don't know. I look.
I think
Here's
it's
the thing.
okay to have your characters be married.
I agree.
And for those married characters to have a dialogue scene, maybe we can cut some of that short.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be crazy to just take it out totally.
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking about it myself now. A friend of mine is going to be reading through it again because he saw the feedback and was like, well, now I got to read through this again to see like what exactly we're changing. And it would make sense. Because in the feedback, we were told that this character, Patrick, only has one sole purpose, which isn't true at all. He shows up at least 4 times throughout the entire 102-page script. And it's significant, I think, in building the story arc of Victoria. So pulling him out completely would mean rewriting Victoria's character.
Should be talking to herself.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know that we want her to be a stable character. Like,
and I feel like somebody who's stable has somebody who they can vent to or talk to about stuff. They have support, in their decisions. So, yeah, it's just interesting to me because I get feedback from friends all the time. It's important to send your scripts out. Whoever's writing, you should always send your script out to friends or family, people you trust, to get feedback. But this is the first time I sent it to somebody I don't know. And of course, this is a screenplay competition. First time getting feedback from someone in that position. And it's weird to me.
It was also like reader 9,000 something.
Right. So we don't really know who the person is. I mean,
or how many people are reading these scripts.
Right.
Or if they even have any kind of like real, it could just be a random reader that has no background in.
Right. Yeah. You never know. I mean, yeah, there's a name on it. Like there's a name on the email, but that name isn't necessarily the person who reviewed it. Which it's, I don't know. It's weird. But I'm going to take the next couple of days, really think about it, read through some of those scenes that were mentioned, and see if there's some way I can change something, and if so, if it would be better. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to change something, obviously, just because, like, my sister is one of my prime readers when it comes to my scripts. And both her and, a couple other friends are like, look, I think these viewpoints are important. I think you should consider them. But in the end, this is one person's opinion.
Yeah.
And I've already had opinions from a number of different people who've all looked at the script differently. And it's helped create the script as it is. So, I guess we'll just have to see. I'll have to see if any of the feedback that this person gave is going to help build the script in a better way. If anything, it's going to help me think more with future scripts.
Well, some of the feedback I felt like were kind of tropey, like were typical things that people use to like sleepwalking. Oh,
yeah,
he could sleepwalk. I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, it feels like a trope, like something people go to when they don't have other ideas. So I was I don't know,
and I think that works. I think that works for some movies for sure.
Yeah.
And maybe maybe it would work for this one, but I'm just not. I don't know. I'm not feeling it right now. Because I mean, the script right now is pretty strong.
I don't know. I don't want to say too much, but I don't think it matters whether he believes he's the killer or not.
Mm-hmm. Right. It doesn't matter what he believes.
It matters what the audience believes.
Exactly. And right now we have it written in a way where it's audience based. You know, like it's up to them to decide. But yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I want to give it a couple days, see what happens. But one of the other things that this reviewer had mentioned, which kind of bothers me a little bit, because this is definitely an opinionated thing, and that is how you write actions.
Yeah.
In the script, I'll say something like the atmosphere. What's the word? One of the things I say in regards to Benjamin, our main character, he's falling asleep or trying to fall asleep. He's in bed, and I write, he exhales, hoping for sleep. Mm-hmm. And the reviewer doesn't like that idea, because we're putting it's like we're forcing an idea into the actor or the reader's mind, and it's like.
But the reader's you.
Right.
So you're forcing an idea into your own mind.
You know, and
I don't think she understood who this script is for.
Right.
Or what the script is for.
Well, but then on top of that, writing's an art. It's different for everybody. Everybody has a style. Mm-hmm. And I've heard it said that my style, it's different from other styles, but it's the way that I write is the way that I write. It still works. It makes sense. It's nothing that's like, oh, this is too much information here. You shouldn't say the candle warmed the room, because a warming is a feeling and not, an image as it should be. But I'm like,
I feel like, I personally feel like some of that is okay. Mm-hmm. Because if the writer wants a certain feeling for the actor to have, while they're in the room and they're realizing that this candle is warming the room, that can show on the actor's face. And right. I know that's probably something the director is going to choose, but at the same time, mm-hmm. You're the writer, and the director can toss that out if they choose to.
They could. They very well could. Yeah. And I'm a strong believer that however you write a script, you write it in the moment, and you write it based on how you feel as well as what the audience would be seeing. It's the thing for a writer is that they're often placed into the character. The writer often becomes the characters that they're writing. And so if you're writing a character and that character is supposed to feel warm, you're going to, at least some writers, not everyone, is going to write that in. I'm one of those writers who do. Not everyone does, and it's fine. But I feel like that's one of those things that could be a bit of a nitpick. Not everybody likes to read that. Some people want it very clear cut, minimized, but other readers prefer the extra information. They like that idea. It's almost like a story, you fill in the gaps a little bit.
Yeah, and I've read several scripts from professionals that do that very thing. They put emotional stuff in the action lines, and that's fine. That's something that's what professionals do. So why can't the non-professionals do the same thing? Why is this? I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
It's crazy.
But
they're trying to hold us down. That's what it is.
It's the man trying to hold us down. No, but I enjoy the feedback. I'm glad for it. Getting someone in their position to read it and give us something. Again, it's a lot to think about. I might make changes off of it, and if not, then I'll at least be thinking of these comments in the future when I'm writing other things. So definitely important, regardless whether good feedback or negative.
Yeah.
So definitely. Yeah.
I feel like the feedback was pretty terrible, personally. I was expecting something better, something more thoughtful. Because, so I during film school, it would always bother me when a student would, try to change your story. Go in and be actually, I think it'd be better if your character did this instead and went this direction instead. Or did these other things instead. I feel like that is not the way you should approach correcting somebody else's story. Their story is what they want it to be. So if you want to help somebody what they wanted the story to be, so let's say the reader of the story wants the character to make more choices on his own, then the next thing you say should be ways of doing that don't corrupt the story that the person wrote. Like, you still want to lead them the same way. You want them to choose to go that way,
right?
Without changing the entire story.
I feel like a big part of it is to ask questions, to lead them to the conclusions that you would ultimately like them to come to.
The problem is it's not a conversation.
No,
it's just some words on an email.
Well, in this case, yeah, because like even in like in this case, the words on the email could be transcribed completely different if we were one-on-one with this person.
Yeah,
you know, because we don't understand the tone, we don't understand like where exactly they're coming from with their ideas. Like, it's just words, and we have to take that all in and be like, where exactly does this leave us today? You know, based on because it wasn't. Like,
did it even say whether the story was liked overall or disliked overall, or?
No, not specifically.
There wasn't even
not
like
one way or the other, which makes sense to me because it's a competition. They're not gonna.
You know, you can like a story and not think it's the best story.
Oh, for sure.
You've ever read.
So one of the things that was mentioned, as is with most likes or dislikes, when somebody likes something in a script, when they're reviewing it, the likes are going to be about 2 sentences long, 3 sentences, nothing crazy, and the dislikes are going to be a list of like half a page, right?
Yeah. Which neither were very long.
No, they really weren't. But one of the things that they had mentioned in the dislikes part is they said the main thing that they feel needs to change is the speed at which the story progresses. And that's why they mentioned us doing something with a character in the very beginning when they're kids, which you and I don't like. Because it takes about 30 minutes for the story really to kick into gear when our characters are adults again. And I get it, which is fine. I know why, like, some people, they want something to happen within the first 15 minutes at least. But sometimes, and most times when I watch a movie and something happens within the first 15 minutes that moves the story forward, it's like, it's moving too fast.
Yeah.
Especially for a movie that's an hour and a half long.
Like, most horror movies will have a kill, like, right in the beginning. Like, this guy's sitting in his living room and then all of a sudden he gets murdered or whatever. I don't think I feel like it's very, like, just, I don't know, something that's done like over and over again.
Yeah.
I feel like we can start our story however we want.
Yeah.
It's our story.
Right.
And I mean, obviously, it, like, if we decide to change that, that's up to us, up to you, to change. But if we like the way it is, then we should keep it the way it is.
Right.
As much as possible.
No, yeah, for sure.
Obviously, there's things that we can do even in post. Like, we can keep the story exactly how it's written, and there are choices we can make in post to put more action in the beginning.
Right.
I mean, no, I don't think it would be difficult.
No.
But we will have the footage to do that.
Right.
If we wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. I agree. And I think the difference, not the difference, but like our story in this case, or this particular story, starts off a little bit slow in a way, but it's also building a lot of character, like a lot of character development.
And I feel like character is the most important thing in the story.
For sure.
Personally.
What movie did I recently watch? You know what? It wasn't a movie. So you and I talked about it, or I mentioned it recently. One of the shows that just came out on Netflix is The Haunting of Hill House. I am only 3 episodes in, but the first 2 episodes are moved very slowly. It was creating characters, it was teaching you about them, developing them. And the action hasn't really started until episode 3, and now it's like, okay, what's happening? What's it gonna get into? Now, mind you, that's about 3 hours it took before it started getting into some significant stuff. And a TV show, like a series, is different from a movie. But even within 30 minutes, if you got 102 pages, that's roughly an hour and 40 minutes or so. And you're getting into the action 30 minutes in, that leaves you with a good hour and 10 minutes of action.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It sounds like we're complaining a little bit. Maybe.
No,
I don't know. I just
don't know. I just feel like the feedback was shallow. Like I don't.
Okay.
Like even like I said, even the positives felt very like. To me, they felt like things that I wouldn't have pointed out as my most positive things in the script. Like they were really like one of the, I don't know what I can say, but one of the scenes felt like to me like one of those just kids are playing and then suddenly bam, something happens that's kind of crazy, but it's not like a big thing,
right.
It's
not a big thing, but it's a significant thing.
It is
in the
And
overall story.
We talked about it and we decided that we wanted it there.
Right.
We wanted it there for a specific purpose.
Right.
And it's there for that purpose, and it's there for the same reason that we're not going to follow one of their suggestions of.
Right.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what I can say about the script.
Put it this way, like, all right. Just say anything you want to say.
The mom stuff.
Yeah. I would say...
The mom stuff in the beginning.
Okay.
Like, it's just... Like, the frog is there because we didn't want a little kid doing something crazy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To a crazy extreme, because a little kid is still a little kid.
Right.
I don't know. But
no, I mean, I get it. So, I mean, I think it's safe to say, like, this story is based, like, it's a thriller. It's about a killer.
Yeah.
And one of our killers happens to be a kid. And I've studied, for as weird as it is, I've studied serial killers to an extent with some of the other things that I've done in the past, like research-wise for other podcasts.
Yeah.
And so I, for the most part, know how those particular criminals grow up. You know, I've done research into Jeffrey Dahmer and a number of others, and they all kind of start off the same way. And that's kind of what we're doing in the script, or what I was doing, playing off of that, because a kid isn't just born a serial killer.
No.
They become one over time, but it has to start somewhere.
A bunch of little choices.
Exactly. And so that's what we're showing in the beginning, which leads to our overall climax of the film, and the arcs of all of our characters.
So
for the matter.
It's a build-up. It's not something that suddenly happens. It's not like a sudden choice. It's like a build-up. Like things build over time.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do.
Right.
Is build it up over time. Not have some crazy thing in the beginning that just doesn't fit. I just don't think it would work.
Yeah, I feel like if something crazy like...
maybe if the girl was older, maybe. But she's not.
Yeah, if we're talking like teenagers, if they're like 15, 16, 17 years old, maybe.
Yeah,
but they're like 9, 10, 11.
Yeah.
It's... Yeah. But nonetheless, like I appreciate the feedback. I like any and all feedback, no matter how horrible the feedback or how good. You know, I mean, if they're going to tear it apart, I prefer, like, when I send my stuff out, I prefer people to tear it apart, because that's what's going to build
people to tear it apart. But I feel like tear it apart for what it is, not for what you want.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All of the negative stuff was suggestions on big things of how to make it better. Mm-hmm. Things that would like dramatically change the story. Mm-hmm. Not simply change the story, not simply change somebody's motives or like some like little thing here or there that could shift something.
Right.
Like dramatically change the story. That means an overall rewrite of something major. That if you change that, it's a domino effect of having to change this and this and this and this all the way down.
Yeah, you're basically looking at an entire rewrite.
Basically,
of the story
she or he, I don't know if it's a she or he, basically that reader wanted a different story, was expecting something else, and didn't get what they wanted, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say if that's exactly what it is, but
maybe
I mean, there are people
problem is we're setting up the wrong expectations in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this though. What's interesting to me is there are certain elements within the story that are very important. The ending being one of them, and they didn't comment on the ending, which means the ending is solid, right? So, or it's so horrible they couldn't even comment on it,
or they didn't read it.
or they didn't write it. That's a possibility too. I feel like the majority of what this particular feedback gives us are elements that help to develop the story as opposed to overall affecting the end game. Because the end game it's obviously solid. It's strong. It's where it is. And I think we're pretty much good as it is. I mean, we're 6 drafts in.
Yeah.
I was completed with it until this feedback. I'm going to look back into it. But I sent the feedback out to some other people, some friends. They commented.
I'm saying don't let it force you to change.
Oh no, for sure. And like
change things that you want to change.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
and that's one of the things.
Your story.
And that's one of the things that, you know, like a friend of mine had mentioned. Like, look, or both like my friend and my sister mentioned, or your story's solid. It's strong. It's where it's at, and it's perfect where it's at. The advice or the feedback is good feedback, and you should consider it. But if you don't want to change it, or you don't think it's going to work quite to what you want, then screw it. Yeah. Because you're solid. You're good where it's at. It's just opinion based at this point. It's one person's view. Somebody else will read it and have a completely different picture of it. You know, they'll have different feedback. So
yeah.
But it's nice to get this kind of feedback after being more or less completed with the script, because at least if I wanted to, I can go back and make changes. If I wanted to.
But, yeah, I feel like we kind of summed that up.
Yeah, I think we summed that up. But so you and I are always working on different projects, and so I have another project that I've been writing, and this one's a series. It's a web series, a horror-based web series.
Of
course, yes, always. So it's really interesting to me because I've wanted to write a web series for a while now. And I haven't really been motivated to do so. I'm one of those who like, unless it's an idea that really intrigues me and I'm like, okay, I just need to get this out. I'll usually just put it off until somebody comes along and is like, hey, I have an idea. And that idea aligns with my idea. And then it's like, okay, I can sit down and write this right now and be done with it. Because I have like a motivation. There's somebody there to, and like filmmaking is a collaborative thing. So it's easier for me to write when there's someone to collaborate with. And so...
Who are you collaborating with?
With you and Aaron.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, you just... Okay. So I had this idea for a while, and I had written I actually wrote like a short script. It was supposed to be a standalone story.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, like, this story could become a series in and of itself. And
about another girl named Victoria.
Yes. Not related to the Duplex Victoria, but still. And I was like, okay, there could be more to this, because I end it kind of abruptly. And I was like, I can continue on with this story. And so a couple of weeks ago, Aaron and I were out at Pinewood Studios for the Gear Expo here in Georgia, in Atlanta.
And I was out of town.
You were out of town. But he had mentioned how he wanted to do like a horror-based web series. And he was giving me ideas and stuff. And I was like, look, I'm already there. Like, I have an idea, and I've been playing with it, but not writing anything.
Yeah. And
now that I know you're interested, you have skills, you have equipment for stuff. And then, of course, you're doing audio and stuff. I can write it. I've got an idea. And so I wrote the first script, or the first episode. And I had a lot of fun writing the first episode, because it's weird. Like, the first episode, so basically the story takes place in our development that we're actually currently living in. And so that day, or the next day, I went for a walk around the lake that's in the center of our development, and I was thinking of this character named Francis, and who he is, where he kind of came from, his backstory. And I actually didn't think about images or how the story would progress, but I thought about a suicide letter and how the suicide letter would be written and how he would say it in voiceover. And I wrote out this whole suicide letter, and then I came back and started putting the images to the letter. Like, what are we seeing as he's saying this in voiceover? You know,
who is he writing the letter to?
That's a good question because we never find out.
Yeah, no.
But there's
I
a
didn't
reason
read
for that. But there's a reason for that.
I forgot that he was even writing.
Yeah, he's writing it. Well, look.
I knew it was voiceover, but I didn't realize that.
It's voiceover, and I mean, I do mention that it's a letter.
I might have missed it.
I do mention that
because you sent me like this weird file.
Yeah, because I accidentally sent you the FDX file when I should have sent you the PDF file.
Yeah,
and I thought I did, but that's just my mistake. But yeah, so it's a suicide letter, and the question is, who is he writing the suicide letter to? Mm-hmm. But we find out later, towards the end of the episode, that the suicide letter isn't to anybody. It's kind of like a thing that he does. He's a journalist in a way.
Yeah.
And we'll see throughout the series that he journals more as the series progresses. I kind of start each episode off with a little bit of a voiceover, just kind of establishing where we're at, what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it's not because it's like it's not because I'm trying to catch people up necessarily, but it's because our character has been there, seen that.
Yeah.
You know.
So,
and so he's like
you're seeing it from like a sort of a man's perspective, but he's seen so much that, you know,
right.
He's sort of got more knowledge beyond what you see.
Exactly.
So
exactly. And so it's fun because I got to play with not only this new character in Francis, but I got to take the character Victoria from the other screenplay that I wrote.
Not
the Duplex. It's really hard to say, you know.
Yeah.
Not from the Duplex, but Victoria from what I call Victoria F. It's the name of the working name, a working title.
Yeah.
Of the standalone screenplay, and I was able to take her and kind of dive into her past and what led her up to this horrific event that really not only changes her, but changes the life of her daughter in a significant way.
Yeah.
And it's dark, it's gory, it's brutal, and yet it's oddly satisfying in a way.
Yeah,
to me.
I think it's kind of good. So, I really like it. But yeah. So the plan is to write several episodes and have like a little small series going on YouTube, right?
Yeah. We're gonna probably post it on a couple places, YouTube, Vimeo, and elsewhere where we can. And so my plan is to write. So it's weird because I had the first episode done to the most, or at least rough draft, right?
Yeah.
I have the third episode done, also rough draft, which is weird because then everyone is probably wondering, well, how do you have a first and a third but not a second?
Yeah.
And it's because the third was written originally. And then I thought, like, when I started writing the first episode, I was like, well, I don't need to just create a whole new series based on this standalone Victoria F story.
Yeah.
I could throw it into this whole new world.
Yeah.
And make it a part of that world because of how weird this world is.
Yeah,
you know?
and you can take a bunch of ideas and
Yeah.
throw it in there too.
So I had the first and third done. I'm working on the second currently. You know,
Yeah.
I've been working on ideas and stuff. Going to start writing. I was going to start writing today, actually, and then I got a call to meet up with somebody regarding another project and a couple of other projects, actually. So I had to put that on the back burner until tonight or tomorrow. And
Yeah.
I'll work on the second episode. And when I get that second episode done, I've got 3 episodes already set and done. And that's at least what I want before we move into production. Because I know we were talking about getting into production within like the next 2 months or so, December, January maybe. And I don't know, I'm kind of excited about it.
Yeah, I think we should have like a season written.
Yeah, no, I agree.
At least like maybe like 8, 10.
My plan,
episodes or so.
yeah, but here's what I'm thinking. Like,
It
I could do that.
All be done like filmed,
Right.
But like
No, but
at least written,
what I was thinking,
so that we can,
or at least what I want to do right now, get these first 3 episodes done. That's my main focus, is these 3 episodes. And then after those 3 episodes, I could start outlining the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Not necessarily write out each episode right now, but just outline where we're going to go
Where
into
we're
episode
gonna go.
4, 5, 6 through 10, you know.
what characters we're gonna meet.
Exactly. 'Cause we're going to meet all kinds of new characters as the season progresses. The first 3 episodes, we only have 3 characters, really, minus a couple of supporting characters.
Yeah.
But 3 main characters within the first 3 episodes, which isn't a lot at all. but they're also not the only ones we're going to be following, because there's a whole world we're going to be exploring.
Yeah.
In this web series, and I feel like we've watched a lot of web series, you know, and I feel like this one is a little more intricate than many of the web series out there.
Yeah, and maybe we can make it a YouTube original.
Maybe,
I don't know.
Maybe you hear that, YouTube. Look forward to this, you know. But
I don't know how that works. We'll have to figure that out if that's a thing.
Yeah,
if that's a thing we can just do. I don't know.
Yeah.
How that works, but that'd be really cool. Definitely.
So I know that this particular episode is talking a lot about screenwriting. And that's probably because screenwriting is one of my primary I love screenwriting. That's what I love doing. And we've got a lot of projects happening. But in regards to a lot of projects, one thing that I've realized, because I've got these two projects, Duplex, and I've got what we'll call The Circle right now, currently in progress. I had a meeting with somebody I met on set a couple days ago. I had a meeting with him today about not only these projects, but a project that he wants to work on, an idea that he has that he wants me to write. And then I'm supposed to have a meeting with somebody else tomorrow, actually, in regards to a fourth project. And I started thinking to myself, like, at what point is too much too much?
Yeah.
You know? And I kind of noticed that with a lot of people working in the industry, whether independently, freelance, or whatever. At what point do you think, like, you have to just step back and be like, look, I'm already working on a couple projects. Like, I really, because, you know, like, I want to collaborate with these other people. I like getting their input, getting their styles, you know, seeing what we can do. But it's also a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Like, you have to really, like, search your heart and find out what you want. You know what I'm saying? What direction you want to go. And make sure that you're collaborating with the right people.
Right.
So that so you can make, like, a really good choice so that you're not overworking yourself on things that you really don't want to work on.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So...
And that's one of the things that I find...
Sometimes you have to take jobs you don't want to work on.
Well, sure.
But, I mean, if you have the choice...
Right. And I think those jobs...
Really,
I mean, it depends on the job, but, like, coming from a creative aspect, it's harder to take those jobs you don't want to do when you're not feeling it creatively, because it's...
Yeah.
How are you creative if you're not feeling it? Like, it's hard to do that. You need to have a passion for it. And so, like, obviously our two projects, and then this third project that I had a meeting about today, I'm interested in. You know, I'm like, I can see even this third. I don't want to mention third project because it's not really mine.
Yeah.
It's somebody else's idea, but it's an interesting idea. I'm kind of on board, you know, right now to an extent at least. It's a couple years off overall before, you know, getting it produced for various reasons, but something I'm interested in looking into right now. You know, it's like, something to think about.
As long as they don't start, like, rushing it.
Oh, no.
So,
I mean, and it's this person who would be like a producer, or is a producer, who's like, we've got time, because there's certain things that need to be done. There's certain things that need to be done, not only on our part, but in the industry, that need to pass by before we can even present it to a specific buyer.
Yeah.
Which we already have in mind. But certain things need to pass before that buyer's going to be like, okay, I'm interested in hearing your story. Because right now this buyer is not going to be interested at the moment, most likely.
Sounds like you're scheming.
What do you mean?
Just joking. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like you're trying to, like, work the system in some way.
Hey, man,
was this like some heist type thing?
You gotta work the system a little bit
Inception.
in order to get Inception.
You know, try to change his mind and his dreams.
Yeah,
Okay.
something like that.
Nice.
But then there's this fourth project, which really isn't much of a project, just somebody who wants to collaborate and create something. And I'm like, I'm at the point where I don't have a fresh idea right now for a fourth project. If somebody wants to bring me an idea, I'm more than happy to run with it. But I'm not willing at this moment to give somebody who I don't really know very well, you know, I'm more of an acquaintance at the moment, to give them a fresh idea and allow them to run with it.
I also have, like, a thing I'm wanting to do really bad. I want to do, like, a like a story-based podcast
Mm-hmm.
where I don't know, I just think it'd be fun to like actually tell a story through a podcast, have characters, like different people's voices and stuff like that. Where not like where I'm reading a story, but where the story unfolds and you're along the ride with the character. I just feel like that's, and the character knows that they're talking to the listener. You know what I'm saying? And the listener is sort of a part of the story because the listener knows that they're being talked to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like, and then you can. I want it to be where you can respond too. So like, where you can like call in and leave a message, and then the podcaster like can respond within the story.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I just really think that'd be amazing and fun.
Yeah,
to do
for sure. And you've been working on that for a while now. Like
I've been thinking about it for a while.
Originally you wanted it as like a movie or as a series.
I wanted it a movie first.
Okay, so I was the movie
a series second, and then I was like, I don't video anything. I was like, I do sound.
Right.
Like, why would I sit here and try to like make something for Netflix or somebody else when I could just do it for myself?
You could. I mean, you have connections, or if you want to do something,
but
Netflix or something like that. I mean, but no,
like,
I mean, you've been telling me the story for a while. You want me to help you write it,
yeah,
and it's an interesting story. It's different for sure. And
it'll
like,
be different for sure.
Yeah, but like doing a podcast out. I mean, I've been podcasting for 11 years now, and doing something to this at this level where we're kind of intermixing film and podcasting into one in a way, and telling the story. It's another thing that's really intriguing, but I think has a whole new set of obstacles.
Yeah,
for both of us.
Yeah,
I've never written something for a podcast or for radio. It's a little different than writing for
and the thing is, I kind of want some of it to be not written, like more stream of consciousness, like like where the person is actually talking. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily purely lit. There might be like bullet points that I need to hit, like for the character or whatever, but not necessarily like exactly written out verbatim.
I see what you're saying.
Because I would feel like it'd be more natural, like to have like pauses and stuff, like when somebody's podcasting.
And I agree, but at the same time, I don't want it
to sound like, and the guy went to the store, and then he, I don't want that. That's dumb.
See, but the thing with that is like you're basing it on, the way people read. And if you have an actor who understands what you're looking for, they're going to read something and still make it sound like it's legit. I know. I see the look on your face, and you disagree with me.
I feel like it's different. When you're listening to something, it's very different than watching something in a movie. It's very different.
Well,
I've listened to podcasts where actors are doing the voices for these characters, and very good actors, they don't pull it across as much as you think they would be able to.
Well,
because they're not being real. They're not in the moment.
Yeah.
I say just give them direction and let them roll with it, and until you.
Which
get
means
what you need.
you'll have to be very specific on who you're hiring as actors, because you're going to need somebody who's very, very good at
improv.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I think that's good. That's what I want. And I mean, there could be some stuff written. I'm not saying that there's no dialogue written. I'm saying that dialogue is more of pointing somebody in a direction. That's the written dialogue is just more pointing somebody in a direction they need to go.
Right.
Kind of thing. I feel like it'd just feel more real if you're just going back and forth like we are right now.
Yeah.
But we're talking about something that's, crazy. Crazy, and it's a story that's progressing, and I don't know. I feel like that'd be better.
I'll tell you, there's really only one way to find out whether
there
it'll
are
work.
there are podcasts that do what I'm talking about,
yeah.
And I like them, so I feel like other people will like them too.
All right. Well, yeah, and
I'm going to do it a little bit different than they do, but
yeah, and you've been working hard at it. You've been writing outlining and all that stuff a
Yeah.
lot in your journal, and you bring it up to me every once in a while.
Yeah, with like new fresh
new idea, new fresh
things that
ideas
just
and what
hit
you
me.
want to do. And like, I mean, you basically, when you're telling me like the ideas, all you're really doing is bouncing those ideas. Because
Yeah.
there are some things that I've said like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like it'll work there. Or it's not right there. But that's the point. Like for anybody who's writing a story, any type of story, whether it's screenwriting or a book, or music, even anything, you got to bounce those ideas. Because in your mind they might seem right, but you need to really,
you need somebody.
you need somebody from the
trust
outside,
that you can,
who you
bounce
trust
those
from the
ideas
outside,
off.
who can be like, here's what I see is the problem.
Like I don't know that this will work because of this.
Right.
Yeah, I think we're good. We're gonna wrap it up. This has been a little bit longer, I think, podcast. This has been James Gary.
And this is Eric with a K.
Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen.
See ya.
And cut.
Good. Cut. Nice. You make that work. So we'll go ahead and talk it.
That was simple.
Yeah, so
Same thing.
second team in.
Feel free to email us at allthehatspod@gmail.com.
And if you would like to check out our schedule or any other information about us, we are on facebook.com/allthehats.
And of course, be sure to stream us wherever you stream podcasts.